Plaid Cymru is on course to lead the next Welsh government. Rhynap Iorwerth's party see off the challenge from Reform in a two-horse race. But it's Labour who are left defeated. First Minister Senedd Morgan loses her seat in the Senedd and falls on her sword. And rampant Reform hoover up votes from Labour and the Tories in their heartlands. So, after nearly 30 years of Labour, historic change is coming to the Welsh Parliament. We'll have all you need to know. Hello, good evening, I'm Jonathan Hill. It had been predicted as an historic election, and that's how it has panned out through the day. Labour's 100-year grip on power in Wales wiped away, with huge gains for both Plaid Cymru and Reform UK. But tonight it is Plaid Cymru who will be the largest party in the Senedd and likely to form the next Welsh government. In the last 20 minutes, its leader, Rhynap Iorwerth, has had this to say.
This is a moment 100 years in the making, a moment in which we hold the promise and ambition of a nation in our hands. The promise of fairness, of opportunity, of prosperity, of a nation determined in its ambition and uncompromising in its compassion.
Most devastating for Labour was the loss of the First Minister. The first time a serving FM has not retained their seat. Tonight, Senedd Morgan has resigned as the leader of her party. Well, our reporters are live across the country where the political map has been redrawn tonight. And of course, our political editor, Adrian, will be crunching the numbers in the studio. But first, let's take a look at what's happening in the north. We're going to go to Carol Green now in the Bangor Conwy Morn constituency. Now, Carol, Plaid Cymru have done very well in their traditional heartlands, but today's result has shown them making gains in areas where they previously struggled. They finished the first in 11 of the 16 constituencies, and the man who has led this party to the success is Rhynap Iorwerth. Carol, not a surprise for Plaid Cymru to dominate there, but surprising gains across the country.
That's absolutely right, John. Here, no great surprises, much as the polls had predicted. Plaid Cymru returning three candidates to Cardiff Bay. But supporters here, just to give you a sense of how they feel at the moment, they're just leaving Venue Cymru here, leaving the count jubilant, and it's fair to say emotional after their leader and that landmark speech where he said this moment for them and this nation has been 100 years in the making. Rhynap Iorwerth topped the poll here, but for him, of course, this day was not just about Bangor Conwy Morn, it was much bigger. It was about Plaid Cymru and the future of Wales and our communities, he said. Addressing his supporters, he said, we're going to have ambition, prosperity and fairness, govern with fairness. We got a sense of what that change he spoke about will look like, mentioning mending the health service and tackling child poverty. He said he would reach out now to people who shared that vision and could deliver it with pace. He would put his name forward for First Minister, and he's on his way to Cardiff as we speak. OK, Carol Green in Llandudno, thanks very much indeed. Well, Reform UK, a party that 5 years ago didn't have any seats in the Senedd, is now on course to be the main opposition party. The party's gained a strong foothold in Labour's heartlands as well as former Conservative strongholds and held a flame to the feet of Plaid Cymru. And that's no more apparent than in the constituency of Sir Gaerfyrddin, where Lewis Rhys-Jones is there for us tonight. Lewis, a two-horse race where you are.
Yes, indeed, John, and Reform were celebratory earlier upon finding out that they won 3 seats in Sir Gaerfyrddin, and at the end of the day that has brought with it an end to 100 years of Labour dominance in areas like Llanelli, where we are stood this evening. But some people might have said they could see the rise of Reform coming in Sir Gaerfyrddin. You only have to look back to 2024's general election, where they came within 1,500 votes of Labour in that election. Not only like that, but the whole immigration debate has been a hot topic in this area. If you look at the Stradey Park Hotel and the plans to house asylum seekers there, which didn't happen eventually. So they have tasted success in working class, post-industrial heartlands like Llanelli, Kidwelly, Trimsaran, but also seen success in rural agricultural parts of Sir Gaerfyrddin as well. Plaid Cymru, they did get 9,000 votes more than Reform in this particular seat, but Reform are still counting it as an historic win.
OK, Lewis Rhys-Jones in Llanelli, thank you very much indeed. Well, Adrian Masters, our political editor, is here. You've been saying for months that we were heading for historic change. You were spot on, of course, I never doubted you. It's also been the prediction of our polling over the last few months.
You did doubt me. I can tell. But honestly, the times we've talked about this over the last few months, even the last year, I can't believe that this map has now filled up. Just to remind you, there were 16 constituencies that were chosen today, each one electing 6 different Senedd members, making a new total of 96. And they're all being filled up. I'm not going to go into each one of those for now, but look at the totals there. Plaid Cymru won 43 seats in the new Senedd. Reform UK won 34. That's incredible. I think sometimes we forget because we're just racing through all these results. Plaid Cymru has been around for 100 years and it's never been anything other than an opposition party in the 27 years of devolution. Now it's the largest party. 5 years ago, when the last Senedd election happened, Reform UK didn't exist. It had barely begun. Yes. It certainly had no Senedd members. It's now the official opposition. There are 34 Senedd members that have never been part of Welsh politics are now in Cardiff Bay. And then, if that's not historic enough, look at what's happened to Labour. 9 seats. Labour, this is the party that has dominated Welsh politics for 100 years. Over 100 years, has run every single government in Wales since devolution began, is now a small party, the third party, and on 9. Other parties as well have got a part of the picture. The Conservatives didn't do as badly as they feared they would, still pretty ropey at 7. The Greens, that is historic. They've never been Green Senedd members before, but they would hope to do a bit more, but they've only got 2. And there is only 1 Lib Dem, so there will be some soul-searching there for them. And this is what you want to see, isn't it? The makeup of the Senedd. Yeah. OK? So this happy horseshoe, as I've been calling it. Right.
Happy for some.
Happy for some. Happy for Plaid Cymru, happy for Reform. But the crucial thing is, in this new Senedd, there needs to be, in order to form a government on your own, you need to have 49 seats. Nobody's got 49. Plaid Cymru's got 43. Reform has got 34 and is a little bit short of that. So the question now comes to who would work with who, and that's far from settled.
I guess the big question, if people are coming home from work tonight and turning on the television, who's going to be running Wales?
Well, Plaid Cymru, certainly for the foreseeable future. Rhys Iorwerth is going to be the First Minister. In a speech just now, he said he would reach out to other parties. But look at this political reality. I'm not sure who he would reach out to. He will not work with Reform UK. Yeah. He probably won't work with the Conservatives. He would want to work with Labour, but I don't think Labour will want to work with him, and they may not be able to. The Lib Dems and the Greens together haven't got enough to help him get through budgets. So the short answer to your question is Rhys Iorwerth is going to be the next First Minister. Plaid Cymru will form the next Welsh Government. Still can't believe I'm saying these things. They seem so unlikely to me. The big uncertainty is how. And that's what's going to keep me occupied for the next few days, weeks, and, well, let's hope it's weeks rather than months.
Don't go anywhere. We'll give you a few minutes to think about that, OK? I'll talk to you in a little while. Well, if euphoria has dominated the Plaid Cymru and Reform camps today, despondency and despair is the mood in the Labour movement tonight. Just 5 years ago, at the last Senedd election, this party held half of the seats in the Welsh Parliament. It's a very different story tonight, as we've just seen, with just 9 MSs taking up a seat in the new Senedd. Megan Boot is in Pontypridd for us tonight. Megan, what's gone wrong for Labour?
Look, we said it before the election, we see it with the results today. People wanted change. Yes, this area used to be a Labour stronghold, but history hasn't counted for much today, with the once dominant party only really winning a handful of seats across these valleys and across the country. They've lost some really big
beast. We're talking about the former First Minister, Senedd Morgan, former Culture Minister, Jack Sargent. You know, still, Alan Davies has been there for nearly 2 decades. And it's not just the old order, if you like. It was those newcomers who are going to be the new chapter of the party who are going home empty-handed tonight. So how has Labour gone from a victory in the Senedd elections in 2021, a large majority in the general election barely 2 years ago, to this? Catcher Fowler reports.
A face that said it all for Labour. A former minister rejected in a stronghold for the party.
Well, look, on a personal level, it's profoundly disappointing. But, you know, I stood for election to serve. And I hope that in that time I have been able to serve the people I've represented. And it's for those people to judge that rather than for me. Clearly, they feel profoundly disappointed in the Labour Party, and the people have spoken. And when the people speak, they're never wrong.
It is a difficult result. We've got a lot of work to do, clearly, to convince people to come back to Welsh Labour. When I was knocking doors, we had lots of positive conversations, equally lots of challenging conversations.
These valleys are Labour heartlands, and for many people in these communities, they voted Labour their whole lives. But the warning signs have been clear. In October last year, Labour lost the by-election here in Caerphilly, and that's a picture that's now being painted nationally. So where has it all gone wrong for them?
That's where I used to vote, Labour, always. But I don't bother now. I don't bother to vote any of them.
You just don't?
No. I think they're all the same.
Well, I think the biggest thing that's gone wrong with them down in the Senedd, one is the 20-mile-an-hour limit. That's the biggest no-no. 2, they got rid of Vaughan Gethin.
Have you voted Labour before?
Yes.
Why not Labour this year?
I don't know, well, they've been in office for so long they haven't done anything. They've had a Labour council here for about 14 years, they haven't done anything, so...
Where do you think it's gone wrong for them?
Well, where to start with it?
The party was rooted in the coalfields, the unions and working class communities. Since devolution, Labour has led every government in Cardiff Bay, and one of the party's former leaders says he never saw this coming.
What I do know is that there's going to have to be a proper examination of what went wrong. The scale of the defeat is incredible. I can barely believe it when I see it, but yeah, we'll have to believe it and make sense of it and work out what we're going to do next.
But now critics are pointing to the party's record in Wales as a key factor in their downfall. Things like years of rising waiting lists in the NHS.
But no one wants to wait 12, 16 hours.
A stagnant economy and controversy over policies like the default 20-mile-an-hour speed limit and outrage about the nation of sanctuary. It seems loyalty can no longer be taken for granted. But some say this isn't just about local issues. A former Welsh minister has called for Sir Keir Starmer to resign, but others say that wasn't on people's minds at the doorstep.
Westminster, the Prime Minister may have come up, but overwhelmingly from my experience and I think from many colleagues, it was about what we had to offer and what we could do in the next term. But as I say, that myriad of reasons, we have to take our time, look at it with humility and then learn from that.
It's been a sobering night for Labour in Wales, and one that could send shockwaves far beyond these valleys. Katia Fowler, ITV News.
Well, look, across the valleys, 2 parties have dominated, Plaid Cymru and Reform. And I'm delighted to say we are joined live by 2 members of those parties who have been elected today. Helen Ddachin of Plaid Cymru and, of course, Jason O'Connell of Reform. Thank you for talking to us today. Helen, let me start with you. Is it Plaid's victory or is it Labour's defeat, do you think?
Of course it's Plaid's victory. Our positive vision for Wales was inspirational, and evidently we're really pleased that we are the largest party here in Wales and that people have come behind us, because hearing the conversations on the doors, people have been inspired by our policies. They've been inspired by our hard-working councillors that have already been well established in these valleys, and this seems like the natural progression.
And how are you going to deliver in a way that Labour haven't managed to in the last 25 odd years?
Well, we've produced detailed plans for over a year. We've outlined our plans for the economy, for the NHS, for education.
Can you do it if you don't get that extra money from Westminster, though?
Yes, we can within the budget available to us, but of course we're going to always stand up for Wales. We're not going to say no to more money, and we'll be very clear where we are being underfunded, that we expect UK government to put those commitments in place that they were making when they were in opposition at Westminster, but then didn't materialise once they were in power.
Obviously, you're the biggest party, but you don't have that majority. What area do you think there might be some deals in?
Well, it'll be really interesting to see what the next few days. But we are the largest party. We said if we were in that position, we would look to be a minority government. Obviously, cooperation has always been a feature of the Senedd, and we would hope that we would have other like-minded parties wanting to cooperate on specific policy areas.
Helen, thank you very much. Jason, over to you. Do you think what we're seeing here is actually a splintering then of the sort of two-party politics system?
Yeah, I think it is. Other parties have stepped up to the fore now, and you've seen a resurgence by Reform and Plaid, as we've seen across the country today, and it's a resounding message not only to the Senedd and to the institutional parties that led it, but also to Westminster. And I think as Wales, as a country, we send quite a big signal out today to say that the two-party system is over, and Reform and other parties are ready to step up.
Now, a lot of people have put their trust in you, have given you their vote. As you are one of the biggest sort of opposition parties, I suppose, if you like, how are you going to deliver for the people who've put their trust in you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same with any political party. We've made commitments during the campaign. We have to make sure that we live up to those commitments as a party, but also as individuals. We put ourselves forward because we believe we do have something to offer the people of, in this case, Pontypridd, Cynn and Merthyr, but also Wales as a whole. And we've got a team of talented individuals with a wide breadth of experience that I know will make a positive difference when we get elected when we get sworn into the Senedd, sorry.
And briefly, you talk about positive difference, but we have spoken to people who say, and I'm quoting here, that they're terrified of your party. What are you going to do to bring communities together?
Yeah, we've heard that, and it couldn't be further from the truth, really, where we've heard some of the labels that are thrown at us, but every interaction I've had with, members at a branch level has been absolutely fantastic. We're a warm and welcoming party, and we couldn't be further from terrifying if we tried.
Jason, thank you very much. Well, thank you both. Congratulations. Has Labour described this as a difficult day? We'll get to see whether it'll be defining, but for Plaid Cymru and Reform, a very good day indeed.
Megan Putin, Pontypridd, thanks very much indeed. Well, elected politicians have been turning up at the Senedd this afternoon, so let's cross to the chamber now, where our correspondent Kate Lewis is. Kate, the class of 26 already arriving at the Senedd.
That's right, it has been a slow trickle of the successful Senedd members newly elected today. We've seen Hwyranka Davies from Labour, he's just been and gone. We've also seen Andrew R.T, Natasha Ashgar for the Conservatives, and David Tristan and Ashgar, and I'm sorry, one other for Plaid Cymru. Now, they've all come here to take the oath. They've taken the oath down in the chamber. That was done privately. I didn't actually see them there, but, all of them telling me how pleased they are. Over the weekend now, more will come here, and by the end of Sunday, we should see them all sworn in.
And just set out what happens next, Kate.
Well, more deadlines, to be honest, John. So we have 14 days then for these to come together to form the first meeting. They have to select the president officer and deputy. Now, that has to be agreed. They are essentially the referees, shall we say. So, and we know they sometimes need that, don't we? Once they're in place, the crucial nominations then and the crucial vote. Who is going to lead Wales? The First Minister. Now, as Adrian was saying there, we think this should be clear-cut. We think this should be Rhys Iorwerth. But previously it has been contested and things can get very interesting indeed.
OK, Kate Lewis in the Senedd. Thanks very much indeed. Well, an historic day, as we've been saying throughout. Let's take a look now at how it all unfolded. Here's Hamish House-Kerry.
The jubilation of winning parties, the joy of victorious candidates. These are the sights we expect in every election. But a sitting head of government losing their seat, that has never happened before. So history, of a kind that she may have expected but never wished for, was made in Ceredigion-Penfro.
Welsh Labour has today suffered a catastrophic result. It ends a century of Labour winning in Wales, and the party will need to take a really hard look at itself.
Senedd Morgan, the face of Labour's campaign, arrived at her count as First Minister and left neither the leader of her party or even a Senedd member.
I will be stepping down as leader of the Labour Party in Wales. There will be a need for us to ask some very serious questions.
As a century of red power ebbed away, the two main challengers fought to fill the vacuum. Reform UK leader in Wales, Dan Thomas, took the first seat to declare in Casnewydd, Islwyn.
My final and most important thank you is to the people of Newport and Islwyn, who have overwhelmingly placed their faith in reform. You have given us a huge responsibility, and we will not let you down.
But his party continued to track behind Plaid Cymru in overall seat numbers. Their leader, Rhynab Iorwerth, re-elected to the Senedd in Bangor Conwy Môn, hopes to be First Minister within a matter of days.
We have offered leadership locally as we offer leadership to all of Wales. As the story of this election has emerged today, it has become clear that Wales demanded that change of leadership.
Elsewhere, history was made for the Green Party too. They had hoped to be a significant force in the Senedd, but Anthony Slaughter's entry to the Welsh Parliament is still a first for his party.
18 months ago, that was an ambition, and it's still historic to get that breakthrough, and I'm sure our vote share is going to be the biggest it's ever been across Wales.
Elsewhere, there was relief for the Welsh Conservatives, as predictions of a wipeout did not come to pass. And while the Welsh Liberal Democrats hope to send a team to Cardiff Bay this time, after a tough day for her party, Jane Dodds' victory in Brycheiniog Tawe Nedd must have come as a relief. Wales now enters uncharted territory. After 100 years of dominance, the Welsh Labour dominoes have fallen one by one. In Blaenau Gwen Caerphilly Rumney, veteran of the Senedd Alan Davies laid much of the blame at the door of Sir Keir Starmer.
Welsh Labour must stand up for Wales or it is nothing. Welsh Labour must stand up for Wales, whoever is in Downing Street.
With the votes counted, Wales has now decided, and Plaid Cymru will be the largest party in the new Senedd. There are watchful eyes on Wales to see what happens next.
Well, our political editor, Adrian Masters, is still with me. Time and time again throughout this campaign, we heard that people wanted change. Boy, have they got
change, didn't they?
It is difficult to overestimate the significance of what we've seen today.
A new age in Welsh politics has begun. A new era, an entirely different, after 27 years of devolution, of maybe different parties being involved in government, but Welsh Labour leading them all. There is now a new government. Let's just remind ourselves of the figures. Plaid Cymru has 43 of the new seats. It's just short of a majority. So it could have been ruling Wales on its own without the support of anyone else. It is going to need some help along the way, particularly for budgets and key legislation. And Reform UK, a party that was nowhere 5 years ago, is now the official opposition on 34. Labour has now been relegated to third place with just 9 seats. That is a political earthquake. I've never seen anything like that. I've never gone into a Welsh election thinking there would be a different result. I thought there might be tweaks, but there has been utter change. There is some uncertainty now over how Plaid Cymru governs, but it is going to govern.
Inexperience there?
Inexperience. So there are 96 new members in the Senedd. Let's have a look at the Happy Horseshoe. There it is. 96 new members. 63 of those have never been in the Senedd before. So they may be, some of them are council leaders and some of them are councillors. They've had experience, but they've never been in there. So in terms of fresh ideas, that's a good thing, but also in experience. In Plaid Cymru, only one person has ever had any government experience. So change everywhere. Change is everywhere I look.
Except us. Adrian, thank you very much. Well, that's it for now, but we're not done yet because I'll be back at 9 o'clock for a special hour-long programme where we will be taking stock of this historic day in Welsh politics. The fallout from this seismic Senedd change will be felt not just here, but but of course up the M4 in Westminster. But crucially, people have voted for change, and now they wait to see what that change will look like in reality. The weather is next, but from all of us on the programme, thanks for your company, and I'll see you in an hour and a half. Bye for now.
Welsh Labour has today suffered a catastrophic result.
I'd like to thank my colleagues in Reform.
Plaid Cymru is ready to serve the citizens of Wales that have a stake in our nation's future.